Hi everyone, Flavia here and I hope all is well. Today we will be creating some really adorable note cards featuring the Concord E9 Carpe Denim stamp and die set. I had the best time playing with this set and I do hope you enjoy this video. Here is a closer look at the die set that I used to cut out the pieces to make some really cool die cut jackets. There are 19 metal plates included in this set that we can use to create all types of jackets. And as we can see here in the back of the packaging, there are some pictures for inspiration which can be very helpful. What I love about Concord E9 die sets is that they usually come up with the coordinating stamp set, and there is the option at the website to buy it in a bundle with a discount, which is pretty nice. Since the stamp and die set go together really well, I usually buy the bundle. However, if you prefer buying just the stamp set or just the die set, know that that is an option as well, and I will make sure to link everything in the description box down below. When it comes to a die set like this one that involves cutting out many small pieces, and for some reason I always feel the need to cut it out in all colors possible, I prefer cutting them out all at once before I am ready to make a note card, and that is because when I'm in my craft room I am either in the mood for organizing, die cutting, or making note cards. These are the three phases I go through in my craft room depending on the mood that I'm in, and freely die cutting without any design in my mind works as a therapy session for me. So a few weeks ago I actually spent a whole weekend just cutting out many pieces in different colors and sorting them out because that is what I felt like doing and what I needed to do to clear my mind and get back on track. And now I am so glad that I finally get to make a few note cards with these pieces. I love this die set so much that I actually got a storage container just to keep all of these pieces sorted out and ready to go. And I will show you that container in a minute. It really makes the process easier when all of the pieces are sorted out and you can quickly find what you need. To cut out this first jacket, I used Spellbinder's brushed black cardstock, which is a gorgeous shimmery black cardstock and one of my favorites. And I am combining it with a regular heavyweight matte cardstock by Recollections. I'm using the Barely Art glue to glue these pieces together, and once I am all done, I will heat emboss a sentiment over these three rectangular patches. Before heat embossing, we need to prep the cardstock with an anti-static powder so the silver embossing powder will only stick to the watermark stamp, and later I will wipe off everything with a clean cloth. To make sure I will not mess this up, I'm using the Misty stamping tool to stamp the sentiment "You've Got This," and then I will apply fine silver embossing powder on top. Before heat setting this sentiment with a heating gun, I will make sure to remove any excess powder with a clean brush, and here is a closer look at the first jacket. I also made another one out of two different shades of brown cardstock, and in the back I will stamp the sentiment "Best of the Best." I first stamped it with black ink, but I ended up not liking the result very much. So I will glue another layer of these rectangular patches on top to hide that, and stamp it one more time using a brown ink pad, which I think looks way better. Moving on to the third jacket, I will make this one very fun and colorful. I will begin by adhering a rainbow right in the center, and then I will stamp a sentiment around the die cut rainbow that reads "It's your day to shine." After that, I will add lots of die cut pieces that I cut out from cardstock scraps from many different brands and from my favorite holographic cardstock, which is the Holo Waves by Tonic Studios. Once you begin assembling these jackets, you will not want to stop. The design options are endless and it is very addicting. So I advise you to also die cut many pieces at once before you begin so you can better enjoy the process. I literally had to force myself to stop making these jackets because unfortunately I was running out of time, and here are all the fun jackets that I was able to make today. I made some with a sentiment in Portuguese that means happy birthday, and for those I printed and foiled the sentiment first, and then I used the large patch die plate included in this set to cut it out. And now I will use some of these die cuts to finally make some note cards. The first one will be a Valentine's Day note card, and I will begin by hot foiling the sentiment Happy Valentine's Day using a piece of golden foil and a plate included in a very old set by Spellbinders. We will skip most of the hot foiling process since it is always the same, and here is a closer look at the amazing foiled sentiment. After hot foiling, I will add a little bit of interest to this red panel by running it through my die cutting machine with a piercing plate called Stitched Hearts Card Front by Concord and Nine. This plate will add stitched patterns to my panel without cutting out the cardstock at all. To do this, I will be using my brand new toy, which is the Anna Griffin Impress Elite die cutting machine. This is a great electric die cutting machine, and this black magnetic mat is very strong, eliminating this way the need of using pieces of tape to hold the metal plates in place, which is amazing. This red panel measures 5¼ inches tall by 4 inches wide, and I did glue it to the front of a white A2 size note card. Above the hot foiled sentiment, I will add a black jacket and a pink one. I used glue to adhere the black jacket to the note card, and now I am using foam squares to adhere the pink one so it has a little bit of dimension, and here is a closer look at the final result. As a final touch, I added a few die cut hearts here and there and golden flat back beads to embellish the jackets, and I really like how it turned out. Unfortunately, I am a little bit late and it is past Valentine's Day, so I will save this one for next year. Moving on to the next note card, off screen I hot foiled the sentiment Happiest of Birthdays, and now I will be using Simon Says Stamp Detail Bohemian plate to add some piecing patterns to this pink panel. Unlike the previous plate that I used, this one has cutting edges, which means that this plate will not only create those piecing patterns but also cut out the panel to 5½ by 4¼ inches. When combining hot foiling or stamping with any other technique, I like to do the hot foiling or the stamping technique first for a flawless result, especially if the second technique will change or add texture to the cardstock. Above the foiled sentiment, I will adhere this fun colorful jacket to the front of my note card using foam squares again for some added dimension, and I will now decorate this note card with a few die cut stars just for fun. By the way, this is where I store all of the pieces that I cut out using the Concord N9F Carpe Denim die set. This plastic organizer box has 32 sections that are not removable, which I find to be just perfect for storing small die cuts and making sure that they always stay in its place. Sometimes when these dividers are removable, the small pieces can slide under these dividers and get all mixed up, and that is why I love that this one does not have those removable dividers. I am really enjoying this new storage system for small die cut pieces, and I think I will be buying a few more of these boxes in the future. Having all of these small pieces sorted out and ready to go makes me so happy and really inspired to create. So I always make sure to spend that extra time planning and getting organized for when I'm ready to just be creative. Here are all of the note cards that I made today. I had a lot of fun and I hope you enjoyed this video. By the way, after recording this video, I quickly went back and made a few more cards because I just couldn't help myself. And I did add a few black die cut stars to the front of this note card with the black jacket, so make sure to head over my blog to check that out. If you're interested, I have a list of all products used today in the description box down below. And if you make something inspired by this video, make sure to tag me on Instagram so I can see what you create. As always, thank you so much for spending this time with me and happy crafting!